Hey guys, Alex here. Today we're going to do a bit of a different video than I usually do. Usually I go over education and college and how you can graduate college fast and save money and all these things. Today I'm going to go over a Surface Pro against an iPad Pro. Now this is still educational. You might need one of these for your school or whatever you may need it for, something productive, whether it's college or something else. So I'm a big fan of both devices. I'm kind of a gadget guy. I love gadgets. I like getting the next, big thing. I mean, I'm not the type of guy that buys the new version every year. I wait like 4 or 5 years, but I kind of like having one of everything, right? So I love the iPad Pro. I love the Surface Pro, and I am an Apple guy. And I will kind of spoil the video here saying that I would give the Surface Pro a bit of an edge over the iPad Pro, and I will explain why in this video. Now, everybody has different preferences, and I'm going to have one huge thing against the iPad. But other than that, if that one thing changed, I would likely go with the iPad. So we're going to go first with the display. Now, the display is almost a tie. They both have beautiful OLED screens, which they both recently added. The Surface Pro recently added OLED screen on their last generation. An iPad Pro, I think, did it maybe 2 generations ago, so very close. So both very recent. I will say the iPad Pro gets a bit of an edge. I'm more of a fan of their OLED screen. I love OLED screens. So I would not, I bought the Surface Pro like a while back, and I would not have bought it without the OLED screen. So that was a huge factor for me. Otherwise, I for sure would have got an iPad instead. So overall, both screens are beautiful. Both displays are beautiful. I think the iPad Pro's tandem OLED screen looks a little better, a little more sharp. But overall, both screens are good. You can't go wrong. I'd probably rate like the OLED screen on the Surface Pro like 8.5, and then the iPad maybe a 9 or something like that. It's really close. So overall, I give the win there to the iPad Pro for display, but both are OLED, both are gorgeous, both are great entertainment machines. So battery life would go to the iPad Pro, but it's pretty close. Like with the new chips in the Surface Pro that are optimized for battery, optimized to save power, just like the M series chips, it's giving Apple a run for their money in battery life. Now, iPad Pro definitely, hands down, still the better battery, but Surface Pro's battery is amazing. I have consumed tons and tons of media for hours straight, and this thing will last you for a long time. I haven't done like direct tests with the Surface Pro and the iPad Pro, but the Surface Pro probably comes within an hour of the iPad Pro, maybe hour and a half, I would imagine. So both are great. If you're debating on battery, if that's like your number one factor, go the iPad Pro, but you're not going to really notice like a huge difference in my opinion. Now, if we're going exterior design, I would say the Microsoft Surface wins this one. I think it is an absolutely gorgeous device. So let's take a look at this. Take the keyboard off here. So look at this. Very nice device. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Although the iPad Pro is gorgeous too. I just prefer the Surface Pro's look a little better. So exterior design, I give the Surface Pro. I think it is possibly one of the best looking exteriors that there is on the market, whether it's a laptop, tablet, etc. It has an absolutely gorgeous exterior. Surface Pro wins this one. On to the next round. Now the next one is portability. And I'm going to go into specific categories here. Now, if you're taking it to like school, maybe the iPad would be slightly better for portability if you have the Magic Keyboard, because it can kind of like stand up completely straight. But they're both extremely portable devices. However, I give the Surface Pro the win in portability because this is by far the best device, whether it's a tablet or a laptop. It is the best device to take on an airplane. If you're doing 12 to 14 hour flights, the Surface Pro should be your device that you choose. if you are purely looking for a device because you fly a lot, this is the one you want. The Surface Pro has a kickstand. The iPad would be very clunky on an airplane with the Magic Keyboard stand, because that thing is very flimsy. With the Surface Pro, this thing you could just prop up on anywhere, including very likely an airplane as well. So you just kick the stand here like this. And this is one of my biggest gripes. The iPad should have one of these. Okay. This thing is amazing. It is one of the most sturdy built-in stands you'll ever see, and you can modify it to whatever height you want, like this. So it just goes whatever height you want. So I think this is a better portable machine with a much better stand. Like, you don't need a keyboard as a stand like you do with the Magic Keyboard to keep the iPad upright. And then with the flimsy iPad covers that just keep it like kind of up, this is a built-in amazing stand. I think the Surface Pro wins in portability, and it wins as a tabletop tablet. So you want, just like the Switch, right? The Nintendo Switch. If you want to prop this up on a table and watch media, this is much better than the iPad. So Surface Pro wins in portability in most use cases, in my opinion. So the next one is an accessory, keyboard. Which one has the better keyboard? Technically, I would say the Magic Keyboard is slightly better. I think it's much closer than people think. I think the Surface has their accessory keyboard is actually really, really good. I actually have it right here. Very good. Like I said, I would say the Magic Keyboard is a little better. Extremely well built, sturdy. Feels almost just like a regular keyboard, to be honest with you. So Apple's keyboard is a little bit better, but I give the Surface Pro the win on that one. The reason for that is the price. You can find Microsoft Surface's keyboard, the accessory, on sale all the time for like $150, whereas the Apple keyboard, I think isn't it $350, maybe $400? I think it's $400 for the 13-inch. And I'm comparing the 13-inch models here, guys. I'm comparing the 13-inch Surface Pro and the 13-inch iPad Pro. I would also recommend getting the 13-inch model. I've had the 11-inch iPad Pro before, and I'm like, oh, this is a perfect size for me. And then eventually I really wanted the 13-inch after a couple of years. So you'll eventually feel like the 11-inch is a little small. The 13-inch, you'll get used to the weight. You'll get used to holding it up. 13-inch really is perfect for like an entertainment, like tablet, media device. And these tablets are getting thinner and thinner. You will notice the weight, but it's not going to be like a 14-inch laptop, you know. You can perfectly hold it with both hands for hours if you want to. So overall, I give keyboard the edge to the Surface Pro, and I believe the Surface Pro is now in the lead 3-2 in these categories. Now, if you are a note taker and you're going to use the Surface Pen or the Apple Pencil, the iPad wins this one. The iPad is definitely better for notes, and the Apple Pencil is definitely better than the Surface Pen. It's closer than people think, but the Apple Pencil is better than the Surface Pen, and just better technology as well. You have to really decide though if you're going to use notes a lot, because when I bought an iPad Pro like 5 years ago, I'm like, oh my god, the main thing I'm going to use this for is note taking, right? Bring it to school, note taking, and it's pretty awesome at first, but then you realize like you'd rather type things, you know, and it's just kind of a gimmick. Right? You might do it for a couple months, and then I feel like 98% of people stop doing it and then just go back to typing on a keyboard or writing in a notepad. So you have to really ask yourself, are you really going to use the Apple Pencil every day for like years? Or are you going to get bored of it after a couple months and it's more of a novelty thing? Now, if you really are going to take notes, then yes, the Apple iPad wins this category. And if that is your number one thing, then yes, you should get an iPad. So now we are at 3-3. So the next one will be price. So price goes to the Surface Pro. If you just get the 16 gigabyte OLED 13-inch model, it should come around to $1,200, especially because it's always on sale. The iPad Pro will come out to about the same if you get the 256 gigabyte storage, whereas the Surface Pro comes with 512 gigabyte storage. And the thing here, though, is I'm factoring all the accessories. If you get the Apple keyboard, the iPad Pro quickly becomes like $1,800. And if you want like 512 gigabytes of storage, so 512 gigabytes of storage and the Apple keyboard, it runs like $1,800. So now, if you just don't want the keyboard, you don't want the pencil, you don't want any of that, the Surface Pro and the iPad Pro are about the same price, but you do get a little more storage on the Surface Pro. So overall, the price factor here goes to the Surface Pro. I really think the iPad Pro, the Magic Keyboard needs to be like $150 less. That thing should not be more than like $250. And that's for like the 13-inch model. I think the 11-inch model should be like $220, and the 13-inch model keyboard should be like $250. So overall, I give the price point here to Surface Pro. Much more affordable than the iPad Pro, in my opinion. So which one is more powerful? This one is definitely the iPad Pro. It's got the M5 chip, whereas the chip series in the Surface Pro is very fast. Like I said, they have upgraded the chip series. It's no longer Intel, and it is an amazing fast computer, amazing fast tablet. But it's equivalent to like an M chip 2.5, so which is still blazing fast. Overall, iPad probably 50% more powerful, at least, maybe even 60-70%. But the problem with it is it's iPad OS. So what to me is like, what is the point of the power? What is the point of having more power when it's iPad OS? Which brings me into my final category in a second here. So also, the Surface Pro comes with 16 gigabytes RAM minimum. I believe the iPad Pro comes with only 12 gigabytes of RAM. So it might be a little more laggy, even though it's more powerful. You can get 16 gigabytes of RAM if you get the 1 terabyte model, which I really don't think you need 1 terabyte in a tablet. But overall, if you get the 1 terabyte model, then you get 16 gigabytes of RAM. Somebody can fact check me on that if you want. So overall, power goes to the iPad, and now we are deadlocked here at 4-4, and I'm going to get into my final category right now. So we are in the final category. We're deadlocked at 4-4 here, and the final category is operating system. So the iPad has iPad OS, whereas the Surface Pro has Windows 11. Now, I'm not the biggest Windows 11 fan, but it blows iPad OS out of the water. There are so many more things you can do with Windows 11 than you can with iPad Pro, especially if you want to use this thing as like kind of a laptop replacement here and there, right? Like, you're not buying these powerful tablets just to watch media, I would assume. You want to store some files. You do want to use it as a computer here and there, right? iPad OS is a very limiting operating system, and the file storage on iPad OS is extremely annoying. Basically, it's a tablet operating system. It is not a full-fledged like computer operating system. The file storage, in my opinion, sucks. And like I said, I'm a big Apple guy. You know, I love Apple. Most things I own are Apple, right? I have a MacBook Pro. I have a Mac Studio. I have an Apple TV. I have an iPhone. I'm an iOS developer, you know, but the Surface Pro is the one thing that I choose over the iPad Pro. And the main factor is the operating system. Now, why does Apple keep iPad OS instead of putting Mac OS on the iPad? And there's only one glaring reason for that. It is because they do not want to cut into the MacBook cells. They're scared it will cut into the MacBook cells. So they keep it completely different. Basically, they handicap the iPad Pro on purpose so it doesn't cannibalize some of the MacBook Pro cells. I understand the business behind it, right? I'm a businessman myself. I understand it, but it sucks, right? Like that sucks. You know, like you're handicapping the device. People would love Mac OS on this thing. It would be amazing, right? Mac OS on the iPad Pro, chef's kiss, amazing. Ship it. I would convert. Although I would miss the amazing stand on the Surface Pro. But if they added Mac OS, I would switch from Surface Pro to the iPad Pro. But until iPad OS is gone, I prefer the Surface Pro. You get a full-fledged computer operating system. It is a full laptop slash tablet, very powerful. You can do anything you can do on a computer on the Surface Pro because of the operating system. You lose some of the tablet feel, but overall, that 5-4, I give the Surface Pro. And the main category was operating system. So I just can't get behind the file storage on the iPad Pro and the Microsoft Word. The Microsoft Office products work way worse on iPad OS than they do a full operating system. So it's still usable, but it's not great. Overall, Surface Pro, beautiful device, beautiful OLED screen, great entertainment device. The stand, the built-in stand is amazing. One of the best features by far. A great exterior design. The iPad Pro is a great exterior design too, but it's a little vanilla compared to some of their other products. But overall, two great devices, right? Can't go wrong with either. iPad Pro great, Surface Pro great, and odds are most of you don't need a tablet. If you have a laptop, you're probably set. But if you really want the tablet experience and you want like a media device for bed and also something you can use as a computer, which is, probably a little more portable than a laptop, and you just want to switch it up, right? The Surface Pro and the iPad Pro are two great devices. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I might try to get into a little more comparison videos. And like I said, I'm an Apple guy, but the Surface Pro is a great device. And I prefer the Surface Pro over the iPad Pro, at least until they get rid of iPad OS. And putting a built-in kickstand would also be pretty amazing. I don't know if Microsoft has a patent. I don't know why Apple doesn't put a built-in kickstand. Maybe they don't want to seem like they're copying. But overall, those are the two very important things that I like about the Surface Pro. A full computer operating system and an amazing built-in kickstand that will work anywhere, like an airplane or anything. So overall, that's my thoughts on this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, comment. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys. Take care.